Just getting my audio set up. Okay. Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the Octavia E. Butler Slow Read. Hello, 2022. There's a lot to be said here because where to begin? We are finishing off the second series of Octavia E. Butler's work. The first was the Patternist series. Now we're reading the Xenogenesis series, otherwise known as Lilith's Brood. And we are in the second calendar year of the Octavia E. Butler Slow Read, I want to say-ish. No, well, technically the third calendar year because we started in 2020. So we had 2020, 2021, and 2022. But we're in sort of like year 2 of our reading series. So this has been absolutely amazing, and I'm super excited to get started with Imago by Octavia E. Butler. So for those of you who are rewatching, we started with the first book, which was Dawn. And then, oops, hold on, computer, I do not need you to do that. And then we read the second book, Adulthood Rights. And so now we are on Imago, book 3. And these covers are great. I've got my tool, my one tool today. I'm obsessed with Posca pens. It's a problem. They are so thick and smooth, and they don't bleed through the page. The color stays on top because they're paint pens. So they've got a little ball in there, and they have can you see that? It's actually paint. So the color payoff is really great. So that's amazing. Okay. So as you know, for those of you who are in the chat, there are 7 of you watching, including me. So thank you all for being here for the first session. We're going to have 3 sessions, one today. The next one is going to be Friday coming, and then the one after that is Saturday, and then we have the live show. So we're still going to work with the three session model. And I'm also going to do what I've done before, which is to invite you. So if you would like to join the chat to get us started, so if you want to join the stream, you're obviously welcome to stay in the chat, but if you would like to join the stream and to read together and to converse in between sessions, I've put the link in the chat. You should get that shortly. You can cut and paste that link into your browser, and then you will show up in the room, and you're more than welcome to join. No pressure. I will only ask once this time. But on the last night, I will ask several times. So hopefully we'll have people who will feel comfortable joining. Okay, so thank you very much for being a part of this experience. Oh, Sherry, since you're my friend, I'm going to super ask you, do you want to join? Come join. Come be with me. So hello, Regina Renee. Hello, hello. Hello, Jessica. Hi. Hello, Alicia. Hello and welcome. And hello, Sherry. If you're in the chat, please say hi and say where you're reading from. Yes, Jessica. I do have a real copy of Survivor. That was a story. I'll tell you the story. So I was at the at WizCon, which is a feminist science fiction convention. I'll put your comment up so people know why I'm saying this. And there's this bookstore that sells like rare and used books, and they're always in the vendors market at WizCon. And I went there, and I was just like looking around, and there's a whole bunch of Octavia Butler books. And then I was like, do you have any more Octavia Butler books? And he's like, why? Are you a collector of Octavia Butler? And I was like, I am a collector of her books. And he's like, I mean, we have a copy of Survivor. And I'm like, what? What? It's not even on the table. He's like, no, we keep this one in the back for people who are collectors. We're not just going to like sell it, because it was a lot. Like it was the price of a rare book. And so he said, look, if you're, you know, really, if you're a collector of her work, I'd be happy to sell it to you. And I was just like, oh my gosh, I got it. I ran upstairs. I put it, instead of keeping it in the bag, I put it in like the inner bag of my suitcase and locked it, and freaked out because I was like worried that somebody would say break into my hotel room to get a copy of it. Like, that's how important it was to me. So yes, I do have a physical copy of Survivor, and I'm very happy to have had the privilege to get that. Hello, Milka. You're in Kingston. Hello, fellow Ontarian. Hi, Juanita in Mount Prospect, Illinois. Maria, hello. Nice to see you again. Hello, Latrice. Come on, lipstick. Listen, I had to keep up with you because you've been working some looks on our live shows. So yes. And yes, okay, cool. Everybody's here. All right. So we're finishing series number 2. I'm going to read the synopsis. After a deadly nuclear war, a handful of humans were rescued by the ONYX, an alien race who intervened for a purpose of their own, to interbreed with humans, raising children they hope will be freed of their parents' flaws. Jodas is one such child, born of a human mother and ONYX parents. But in a first for the hybrid species, Jodas is neither male nor female. Instead, it becomes clear that Jodas is a member of the ONYX's third sex, an Uloi who can mutate DNA, cause and cure disease, and forge enduring social bonds. The ONYX have never allowed an Uloi to be born of a human for fear of the devastation an adolescent could cause with its potent abilities if it loses control. Nevertheless, Jodas, risking exile and madness, while struggling to come to terms with its unexpected new identity, must now master its powers to unite its community before it is destroyed from within. Dun dun dun! This is the final book. Okay, so I have some questions just from hearing the synopsis. For those of you who haven't started to read yet, what do you think? So specifically, what are you most interested in reading about in this story? So after having explored Dawn and Lilith Iapo's awakening and her choosing the people who would be able to go back to Earth and try to live this hybrid life, not being impregnated against her knowledge and will, and having to stay up on the ship while everybody else went down without her having the ability to say goodbye, right? So that's Dawn. And then in adulthood rights, we follow Nikanj, who, you know, is kidnapped, has to spend time with these resistor colonies, you know, ends up coming back, ends up proposing a different way, right? Some kind of like hybrid way, and asking questions. Why can't the humans be able to sort of reproduce and see what happens? Like, asking some important questions as Nikanj goes into adolescence, right? As he goes through his own adulthood rights. And also while arguably humans go through their own adulthood rights to see the fruits of their labor, good and bad, as they've created these resistor colonies. So now we've fast forwarded a little bit more, and we've got Jodas, who is a child. So Nikanj was the first ONYX born of a human woman, Lilith, and Jodas is the first Uloi born of a human mother and ONYX parents. And we've had discussions in other books about gender, about sex, about what Octavia Butler has encouraged us to do in her exploration of gender roles and destiny and all of that. So there's a lot to explore here. Okay, so let's see what folks are saying. Hi, Tamara. You're not home yet, but you'll rewatch. Okay, drive safe. Oh, damn, I'm so glad I didn't read that before I started. It gives away quite a bit of what I've read so far. Okay. Hello, Dr. VP. Always a pleasure seeing you. Hola, and reading with us in Oakland. Nice to see you. Oh, Akin, I'm so sorry. Thank you for correcting me. I told you I don't remember character names. Thank you. You want to see if the resistor humans kill themselves off? I mean, no big deal. That's good. Hey, Tatiana, I've got a marker here ready for you. Happy Friday. And Akeem was the first human-born male construct in adulthood rights. Thank you very much for that. I appreciate it. Yeah, who's Nakanj then? Okay. All right, everyone. So we are going to start. How much time do you want for our first sprint together? Do you want to dip in and do like 15 minutes and sort of see how it feels? Or do you want to, oh gosh, Tatiana, it's a paint pen. I apologize. Posca paint pen, not a marker. Got you. So how long do people want for the first sprint? It's not a marker. It's a paint pen. Gotcha. And it's going to be in my book. It's going to be great. How long do we want? 15, 20, 30, 40? Like, how much are people thinking? I'll wait a few minutes and see. I'm leaning towards half an hour. So while I'm waiting for you to tell me how much time you want to spend the first sprint on, you're excited to see how everyone reacts because Akin was already a lot, for the Onkali, It's like the Onkali are just like, we're going to control everything. We're going to control what we make. We know exactly what this is going to look like. And and then they're like, ooh, we can't do that. And ooh, we can't do that either. So I feel like the Onkali have been forced to clutch their pearls a lot of the time. Yes. Nikanj is Lilith's Uloi mate and Akin and Jodas's Uloi parent. Thank you. Okay. Milka, you don't have the book. Yeah. I guess what I would say is see if you're like, do you have access to a library where you could read it? You could read it? I don't know what to suggest. You can read another book in the meantime. 20 minutes, 30. Akin is your baby, yes. 20, 30. They're so stuck in their tradition while forcing humans to throw away theirs. I know. Yeah, try Libby or Scribd. Milka, try that if you have access. I love Njoroge. I love your last name. Okay, yeah, so try to do that. I think we're going to hit it in the middle of 25 minutes. I'm going to find a timer and then we're going to start. Okay. Okay, 25 minutes. We're going to share the screen-ish. Oops. Share screen and okay. Now let's make it big. Okay. And then, okay, cool. Yes, Tati. Well, thank you for being a calming presence. All right, friends. So we're going to start now. There we go. There's a 25-minute timer. Happy reading. And we'll see you in 25 minutes. And the question that I'm going to ask after is first or current impressions. Okay. So I'll just put that in the chat. Question. What are your first current impressions? All right, everyone. Happy reading. See you in 25 minutes. Actually, I have a thought. I'm sorry for interrupting the sprint. Can we, oops, sorry. Just going to move this so you don't get Tommy. Can I just ask a question? I'm very sorry for interrupting. Could you let me know how many people are reading this for the first time? Like how many people are starting anew for the first time? So we have 10 people other than me here. Can you just say in the chat if you're starting off for the first time? Because I have an idea. Okay, so that's Maria, excuse me, that's one. Okay, first time. Okay, so that's 2, 3. Okay, starting from the first page. So am I. 4. Hi from Denver. You started earlier this week. Okay. Okay. Give me just 1 second. Okay.
An excerpt.
Whoops. Okay. So, Dr. VP, are you still here in the chat? I'm not sure if Dr. VP is still here. Okay. And did the excerpt start from the first page? Dr. VP, did the excerpt start from the first page? Okay. There's a lot of us starting from the first page. Okay. Dr. VP, do you want to join me or do you want to stay in the chat? Because you know what I'm going to do. If you want to join me in the chat, bear with me, everyone. I know you were starting to read, but you're going to enjoy this very much. Okay, you don't know. Okay, I'm going to take that as a no for now. But if you change your mind, there you go. Okay, so since there are a lot of us that are starting from the beginning, you're going to get a sneak preview of something that I'm going to be sending out to the folks who have gotten tickets for the OEB slow read. So if you've participated in the slow read before, you will know that we stan Dr. Carolyn Van Putten, who's in our chat, because in the very, very first slow read, when we were doing the sound circle, Dr. VP had to was just speaking. Sorry, I was reading at the same time. I got distracted, but Dr. VP shared with us her amazing voice, and it was so good. Like after you spoke, everybody was just like, who is that? I love their voice. I want this voice in my life. And so it's been a treat to hear Dr. VP read. So this time I asked Dr. VP if she would be willing to record an excerpt from Imago in audio format so that we could share it with the people who have participated in the OEB slow read? And she said yes. So I actually have an excerpt, and I just confirmed with Dr. VP that her excerpt begins from the first page of Imago. So I thought, especially since Milka, you might not have the book with you, to actually play it. So I'm going to do that. And if you are further along, then just I'll wave when we're done. You can turn your volume down and just like wait to see when we wave. But I'm going to play it for us here, and then everybody else. I know we love Dr. Van Putten. So everybody else will get it. They'll get it with the Gen Pop. Okay, so here we go. Let me just see how long it is. I can't tell just yet, but when it's done, it'll be done. Okay, so we're all gonna hybrid read or just listen to Imago, read by the amazing Dr. Van Putten, who we love so much. Okay. Yeah, I thought that would be good. Okay. Enjoy. Maybe even close your eyes because it's Dr. VP. Okay. Enjoy, everyone.
An excerpt from Imago by Octavia E. Butler. Metamorphosis, Chapter 1. Read by Carolyn Van Putten. Slipped into my first metamorphosis so quietly that no one noticed. Metamorphoses were not supposed to begin that way. Most people begin with small, obvious physical changes, the loss of fingers and toes, for instance, or the budding of new fingers and toes of a different design. I wish my experience had been that normal, that safe. For several days, I changed without attracting attention. Early stages of metamorphosis didn't normally last for days without bringing on deep sleep, but mine did. My first changes were sensory. Tastes. Sense. All sensations suddenly became complex, confusing, yet unexpectedly seductive. I had to relearn everything. River water, for instance. When I swam in it, I noticed that it had two distinctive major flavors, hydrogen and oxygen, and many minor flavors. I could separate out and savor each one individually. In fact, I couldn't help separating them, but I learned them quickly and accepted them in their new complexity so that only occasional changes in minor flavors demanded my attention. Our river water at Low always came to us clouded with sentiment. Rich, the Oankali called it. Muddy, the humans said, and filtered it or let the silt settle to the bottom before they drank it. Just water, we constructs said, and shrugged. We had never known any other water. As quickly as I could, I learned again to understand and accept my sensory impressions of the people and things around me. The experience absorbed so much of my attention that I didn't understand how my family could fail to see that something unusual was happening to me. But beyond mentioning that I was daydreaming too much, even my parents missed the signs. They were, after all, the wrong signs. No one was expecting them, so no one noticed when they appeared. All 5 of my parents were old when I was born. They didn't look any older than my adult sisters and brothers, but they had helped with the founding of Low. They had grandchildren who were old. I don't think I had ever surprised them before. I wasn't sure. I liked surprising them now. I didn't want to tell them. I especially didn't want to tell Tino, my human father. He was supposed to stay with me through my metamorphosis since he was my same-sex human parent, but I did not feel drawn to him as I should have, nor did I feel drawn to Lilith, my birth mother. She was human too, and what was happening to me was definitely not a human thing. Strangely, I didn't want to go to my ONYX father, Nishan, either, and he was my logical choice after Tino. My ONYX mother, Ahajas, would have talked to one of my fathers for me. She had done that for two of my brothers who had been afraid of metamorphosis, afraid they would change too much, lose all signs of their humanity. That could happen to me, though I had never worried about it. Ahajas would have talked to me and for me, no matter what my problem was. Of all my parents, she was the easiest to talk to. I would have gone to her if the thought of doing so had been more appealing, or if I had understood why it was so unappealing. What was wrong with me? I wasn't shy or afraid, but when I thought of going to her, I felt first drawn and then almost repelled. Finally, there was my Uloi parent, Nikanj. It would tell me to go to one of my same-sex parents, one of my fathers. What else could it say? I knew well enough that I was in metamorphosis, and that was one of the few things Uloi parents could not help with. There were still some humans who insisted on seeing the Uloi as some kind of male-female combination, but the Uloi were no such thing. They were themselves, a different sex altogether. So I went to Nikanj, only hoping to enjoy its company for a while. Eventually, it would notice what was happening to me and send me to my father's. Until it did, I would rest near it. I was tired, sleepy. Metamorphosis was mostly sleep. I found Nikanj inside the family house talking to a pair of human strangers. The humans were standing back from Nikanj. The female was almost sheltering behind the male, and the male was making a painful effort to appear courageous. Both looked alarmed when they saw me open a wall and step through into the room. Then, as they got a look at me, they seemed to relax a little. I looked very human, especially if they compared me to Nikanj, who wasn't human at all. The humans smelled, most obviously, of sweat and adrenaline, food and sex. I sat down on the floor and let myself work out the complex combinations of scents. My new awareness wouldn't allow me to do anything else. By the time I was finished, I thought I would be able to track those two humans through anything. Nikanj paid no attention to me except to notice me when I came in. It was used to its children coming and going as they chose, used to all of us spending time with it, learning whatever it was willing to teach us. It had an incredibly complex scent because it was Uloi. It had collected within itself not only the reproductive material of other members of the family, but cells of other plant and animal species that it had dealt with recently. These it would study, memorize, then either consume or store. It consumed the ones it knew it could recreate from memory using its own DNA. It kept the others alive in a kind of stasis until they were needed. Its most noticeable underscent was Kal, the kin group it was born into. I had never met its parents, but I knew the Kal scent from other members of the Kal kin group. Somehow, though, I had never noticed that scent on Nikanj, never separated it out this way. The main scent was low, of course. It had mated with ONYX of the low kin group, and on mating, it had altered its own scent as an Uloi must. The word Uloi could not be translated directly into English because its meaning was as complex as Nikanj's scent. Treasured stranger, bridge, life trader, weaver, magnet. Magnet, my birth mother says. People are drawn to Uloi and can't escape. She couldn't, certainly. But then neither could Nikaj escape her or any of its mates. The ONYX said the chemical bonds of mating were as difficult to break as the habit of breathing. Since the two visiting humans were long-time mates and smelled of each other. We don't know yet whether we want to immigrate, the female was saying. We've come to see for ourselves and for our people. You'll be shown everything, Nikaj told them. There are no secrets about the Mars colony or travel to it, but right now the shuttles allotted to immigration are all in use. We have a guest area where humans can wait. The two humans looked at one another. They still smelled frightened, but now both were making an effort to look brave. Their faces were almost expressionless. We don't want to stay here, the male said. We'll come back when there's a ship. Nikaj stood up, unfolded, as humans say. I can't tell you when there'll be a ship, it said. They arrive when they arrive. Let me show you the guest area. It isn't like this house. Humans built it out of cut wood. The pair stumbled back from Nikaj. Nikaj's sensory tentacles flattened against its body in amusement. It sat down again. There are other humans waiting in the guest area, it told them gently. They're like you. They want their own all-human world. They'll be traveling with you when you go. It paused, looked at me. Eka, why don't you show them? I wanted to stay with it now more than ever, but I could see that the two humans were relieved to be turned over to someone who at least looked human. I stood up and faced them. This is Jodas, Nikaj told them. One of my younger children. The female gave me a look that I had seen too often not to recognize. She said, but I thought, no, I said to her and smiled. I'm not human. I'm a human-born construct. Come this way. The guest area isn't far. They did not want to follow me through the wall I opened until it was fully open, as though they thought the wall might close on them, as though it would hurt them if it did. It would be like being grasped gently by a big hand, I told them when we were all outside. What? The male asked. If the wall shut on you, it couldn't hurt you because you're alive. It might eat your clothing, though. No thanks. I laughed. I've never seen that happen, but I've heard it can. What's your name? The female asked. All of it. She looked interested in me, smelled sexually attracted, which made her interesting to me. Human females did tend to like me as long as I kept my few body tentacles covered by hair and my few head tentacles hidden in my hair. The sensory spots on my face and arms looked like ordinary skin, though they didn't feel ordinary. Your human name, the female said. I already know. Eka and Jodas, but I'm not sure which to call you. Ika is just a term of endearment for young children, I told her, like Lelka for married children and Chka, between mates. Jodas is my personal name. The human version of my whole name is Jodas Iapo Leal Kal Nikajlo. My name, the surnames of my birth mother and human father, and Nikaj's name, beginning with the kin group it was born into and ending with the kin group of its ONYX mates. If I were ONYX born, or if I gave you the ONYX version of my name, it would be a lot longer and more complicated. I've heard some of them, the female said. You'll probably drop them eventually. No, we'll change them to suit our needs, but we won't drop them. They give very useful information, especially when people are looking for mates. Jodas doesn't sound like any name I've heard before, the male said. ONYX name. An ONYX named Jodas died helping with the immigration. My birth mother said he should be remembered. The ONYX don't have a tradition of remembering people by naming kids after them, but my birth mother insisted. She does that sometimes, insists on keeping human customs. You look very human, the female said softly. I smiled. I'm a child. I just look unfinished. How old are you? 29. Good God, when will you be considered an adult? After metamorphosis, I smiled to myself. Soon. I have a brother who went through it at 21 and a sister who didn't reach it until she was 33. People change when their bodies are ready, not at some specific age. She was silent for some time. We reached the last of the true houses of Lo, the houses that had been grown from the living substance of the Lo entity. Humans without ONYX mates could not open walls or raise table, bed, or chair platforms in such houses. Left alone in our houses, these humans were prisoners until some construct, ONYX or mated human, freed them. Thus, they had been given first a guest house, then a guest area. In that area, they had built their dead houses of cut wood and woven thatch. They used fire for light and cooking, and occasionally they burned down one of their houses. Houses that did not burn became infested with rodents and insects, which ate the humans' food and bit or stung the humans themselves. Periodically, ONYX went in and drove the non-human life out. It always came back. It had been feeding on humans, eating their food, and living in their buildings since long before the ONYX arrived. Still, the guest area was reasonably comfortable. Guests ate from trees and plants that were not what they appeared to be. They were extensions of the Lo entity. They had been induced to synthesize fruits and vegetables in shapes, flowers, and textures that humans recognized. The foods grew from what appeared to be their proper trees and plants. Lo took care of the humans' wastes, keeping their area clean, though they tended to be careless about where they threw or dumped things in this temporary place. There's an empty house there, I said, pointing. The female stared at my hand rather than at where I pointed. I had, from a human point of view, too many fingers and toes, 7 per. Since they were part of distinctly human-looking hands and feet, humans didn't usually notice them at once. I held my hand open, palm up, so that she could see it, and her expression flickered from curiosity and surprise through embarrassment back to curiosity. Will you change much in metamorphosis? She asked. Probably. The human-born get more ONYX, and the ONYX-born get more human. I'm first generation. If you want to see the future, take a look at some of the 3rd and 4th generations constructs. They're a lot more uniform from start to finish. That's not our future, the male said. Your choice, I said. The male walked away toward the empty house. The female hesitated. What do you think of our immigration? She asked. I looked at her, liking her, not wanting to answer. But such questions should be answered. Why, though, were the human females who insisted on asking them so often small, weak people. The Martian environment they were headed for was harsher than any they had known. We would see that they had the best possible chance to survive. Many would live to bear children on their new world, but they would suffer so. And in the end, it would all be for nothing. Their own genetic conflict had betrayed and destroyed them once. It would do so again. You should stay, I told the female. You should join us. Why? I wanted very much not to look at her, to go away from her. Instead, I continued to face her. I understand that humans must be free to go, I said softly. I'm human enough for my body to understand that. But I'm ONYX enough to know that you will eventually destroy yourselves again. She frowned, marring her smooth forehead. You mean another war? Perhaps. Or maybe you'll find some other way to do it. You were working on several ways before your war. You don't know anything about it. You're too young. You should stay and mate with constructs or with ONYX, I said. The children we construct are free of inherent flaws. What we build will last. You're just a child repeating what you've been told. I shook my head. I perceive what I perceive. No one had to tell me how to use my senses any more than they had to tell you how to see or hear. There is a lethal genetic conflict in humanity, and you know it. All we know is what the ONYX have told us. The male had come back. He put his arm around the female, drawing her away from me as though I had offered some threat. They could be lying for their own reasons. I shifted my attention to him. You know they're not, I said softly. Your own history tells you. Your people are intelligent, and that's good. The ONYX say you're potentially one of the most intelligent species they've found. But you're also hierarchical. You and your nearest animal relatives and your most distant animal ancestors. Intelligence is relatively new to life on Earth, but your hierarchical tendencies are ancient. The new was too often put at the service of the old. It will be again. You're bright enough to learn to live on your new world, but you're so hierarchical, you'll destroy yourselves trying to dominate it and each other. You might last a long time, but in the end, you'll destroy yourselves. We could last 1,000 years, the male said. We did all right on Earth until the war. You could. Your new world will be different. It will demand most of your attention, perhaps occupy your hierarchical tendencies safely for a while. We'll be free. Us, our children, their children. Perhaps. We'll be fully human and free. That's enough. We might even get into space again on our own someday. Your people might be dead wrong about us. No. He couldn't read the gene combinations as I could. It was as though he were about to walk off a cliff simply because he could not see it, or because he, or rather his descendants, would not hit the rocks below for a long time. And what were we doing, we who knew the truth? Helping him reach the cliff, ferrying him to it. We might outlast your people here on Earth, he said. I hope so, I told him. His expression said he didn't believe me, but I meant it. We would not be here. The Earth he knew would not be here for more than a few centuries. We, ONYX and Construct, were space-going people, as curious about other life and as acquisitive of it as humans were hierarchical. Eventually, we would have to begin the long, long search for a new species to combine with to construct new life forms. Much of Oankali existence was spent in such searches. We would leave this solar system in perhaps 3 centuries. I would live to see the leave taking myself. And when we broke and scattered, we would leave behind a lump of stripped rock more like the moon than like his blue earth. He did not know that. He would never know it. To tell him would be a cruelty. Do you ever think of yourself or your kind as human? The female asked. Some of you look so human. We feel our humanity. It helps us to understand both you and the Oankali. Oankali alone could never have let you have your Mars colony. I heard they were helping, the male said. Your parents said they were helping. They help because of what we constructs tell them, that you should be allowed to go even though you'll eventually destroy yourselves. The Oankali believe, the Oankali know to the bone that it's wrong to help the human species regenerate unchanged because it will destroy itself again. To them, it's like deliberately causing the conception of a child who is so defective that it must die in infancy. They're wrong. Someday we'll show them how wrong. It was a threat. It was meaningless, but it gave him some slight satisfaction. The other humans here will show you where to gather food, I said. If you need anything else, ask one of us. I turned to go. So goddamn patronizing, the male muttered. I turned back without thinking. Am I really? The male frowned, muttered a curse, and went back into the house. I understood then that he was just angry. It bothered me that I sometimes made them angry. I never intended to. The female stepped to me, touched my face, examined a little of my hair. Humans who hadn't made it among us never really learned to touch us. At best, they annoyed us by rubbing their hands over sensory spots, and once their hands found the spots, they never liked them. The female jerked her hand back when her fingers discovered the one below my left ear. They're a little like eyes that can't close to protect themselves, I said. It doesn't exactly hurt us when you touch them, but we don't like you to. So what? You have to teach people how to touch you? I smiled and took her hand between my own. Hands are always safe, I said. I left her standing there, watching me. I could see her through sensory tentacles in my hair. She stood there until the male came out and drew her inside.
Well. Well. Dr. Carolyn Van Putten. That was exquisite. This is the first time that I heard the entire chapter. Thank you. Thank you so much. You're gifted, and that was amazing. And yes. So Latrice is like, can you narrate my life? So let's spend a little time just appreciating Dr. VP for entering us into Imago and reading that first chapter and us being able to share it. It's such a pleasure. So thank you. And feel free to rain down some love. Okay, there's a little banter. Yes. Okay, cool. Some people want Dr. Van Putten to narrate their entire life, their inner voice. All valid. Okay. This is okay. Here we are. Okay. So yes, that was excellent. All the claps and flowers. You're most welcome. So how are we supposed to read this on our own now? I know. How are we supposed to pivot from that? Well, hopefully the resonance of Dr. VP's voice will like linger so you can just read everything else. I love the way you did the voices for the female and the male. That was who apparently have no names. So that was great. I think that I'm just thinking about a conversation we had in Dawn about gender and identity and the gender spectrums. And I think that this book is going to allow us to explore that a little further. So that is great. Thank you for that gift. Yes. Yeah, I knew what you meant. And yes, we love you. Woo. Okay. Thank you for that. So what are your impressions and first thoughts? And if you have read ahead, great. What were your impressions and first thoughts? We're going to be doing 3 sprints. So that was the first one. And then we'll do 2 more before we go. So thoughts. Thank you so much. Yes. So my thought for this one is it's interesting how it's interesting this whole like the Oankali, how they're not telling the humans who go back to the planet Earth what their future is going to look like. It just seems really dismal that the Oankali are kind of like, you're not going to survive. We're not going to survive on the Earth. We're just going to, maybe for a couple of 100 years, but then we're going to leave a strip of rock and nothing's going to be left. And if you go to Mars, you know, you might survive a millennia or so, or hundreds of years or so, but then your hierarchical tendencies and that combined with your intelligence will just result in you killing each other off, and then you'll go bye-bye. So basically, we're going to get what we need because we need to like mix up our DNA and stuff. So we're going to be able to get that. And then we're going to go and look for some other world to do a genetic mix up with while you flounder and then become extinct. And the only way that you're actually going to survive is if you mate with us. So what are you going to do? Like, I feel like in this book, we get more of the sinister, maybe, I don't know, way of the Oankali more bluntly than we have in other ones. So that's my impression. What I'm hoping is that Jodas will, yes, Jodas. Yeah, what I'm hoping is that Jodas will take us somewhere a little bit different and give us another alternative, because I feel like when Octavia E. Butler's characters take us to places where it seems like our options are limited, their limitations often become disproved in some way. So I hope that that's what happens here. First thoughts. Humans are still arrogant. There is a lot of mention of senses. Yeah, a lot of senses. And is it just me, or is Jodas like very, very flirtatious? And I feel like he's flirting with, or it's flirting with the female. And so like that part when maybe this is because I'm queer, but anytime there's a discussion of like fingers, I'm just like, So Jonas is like, oh, she noticed my seven fingers. And what does she ask? Something like, how how human, what did she say? I don't know, something about how human is the rest of you, or some I don't know. But I just remember laughing about her noticing that it had 7 fingers, and the comment that she made after that, and how fascinated she was by all the things. Anyway, yeah. Will you change in metamorphosis? How much? Okay. So the humans wouldn't believe them. It wouldn't matter. That's fair. Yes. Yay. Thank you. Yes. Thank you so much. You're the best. Thank you. I really wanted to know the time lapse between the books. I appreciate the Akin reference. Yeah, same. So I find it interesting that the Oankali don't tell the resistance that the planet will not exist, but they wanted even those to resist to end up choosing to come with them. Yeah, we want you to make your own choices, but we're going to really limit the amount of information you have. So you're making choices within this, artificial set of data. I think it's been about 50 years since the Mars colony opened, and it was multiple decades from the Oankali acceptance of making Mars a thing. Fingers. Didn't notice that until you mentioned it. Listen, OEB knew what she was doing. Maria, you missed that. Was there an Akin reference that let us know how much time had passed? Tati, that's a question that I'm sure you just answered. So maybe 100 years. I sensed the flirtations too, but I also wondered whether I was reading with my human eyes. Maybe she's just too kind to the humans. I mean, we're only human after all. So I don't know. Who knows? But I felt them for sure. I also thought maybe she was, inquisitive and soft and everything. But, when Jonas was like, he wanted to stay close to her. And then when the human male put his arm around her and drew her away, I'm just like, there's something happening. Yeah, I miss the significance in his fingers, aside from the thing about him that visually identifies him as not fully human. Right? Okay, Maria, so I'm not alone. Hands are always safe. I was just like, come on, we know what's going on here. All the humans are horny. They stay horny. Thanks, Tati. But honestly, Oankali have told them all repeated, you do the trade or you die. That's true, one way or another. But the point is the humans would be dead without the Oankali regardless. Yeah, and I feel like that is what the Oankali, that is their ultimate justification. We found you after you almost done extincted your own selves. So you do not get to tell us that what we're doing is wrong or any worse or anything else, because we rescued you. We found you while y'all were blowing up each other and blowing up the moon, and you were hierarchical. You created these strange social constructions around race and everything. Like, it's not our fault. We are not the first to do this. Yes, that's right, Maria. They're missing the informed part of the informed consent. It's like misinformed consent. All right, this is great. I wish we had more Dr. VP to listen to. Alas, we will have to just engage our own sub vocalization for this next sprint. And I think we'll do half an hour, and then the last sprint will be shorter because yes, they are going to obliterate Mars, and neither set is trying to come to the table to find a way together except the human-born constructs. So it's really interesting that the constructs are the ones that are, as Sherry said, thinking about things differently, So I don't even know where to start with this one. Okay. All right, everyone. We're going to do our second sprint. Did I say 20 minutes or half an hour? Okay. So we're going to do half an hour. Let's share the screen. I'm going to put this back into the stream. I don't know how to do that. Okay. I'll just change this to half an hour, and then we will. Can I just type it? One moment. I'll have to stop sharing first. Is this going to be easy or hard? Yep, it's going to be hard. 1 second. Happy reading. Hey everyone. So that was 30 minutes. I'm really glad that you didn't have to hear the timer because good Lord, it was loud. I'm on page 34, a page and a half shy of finishing the 4th chapter. And there's a little bit left before, why did I think part 2? Oh, okay. I have a ways to go before part 2, Exile. I have to admit, I'm getting a little tired. So I'm actually gonna stop because it's a bit late. Oh, y'all heard the timer? How did that happen? I thought I was muted. Oh, because I share the screen? Sorry, it was loud. Sorry about that. I know that we talked about me trying to use a softer timer, so I apologize. It was very startling. Okay. Yeah, I think I'm gonna stop. I know that I said I was gonna do 3 sprints, but I'm getting tired, and self-care, as Tati reminds me, this is not a job, it's a hobby. So I think I'll have to go. I think I'll have to go after we chat. So how did y'all do? I am really enjoying the start of this. I will say that I'm really enjoying the fact that the ONCOLI have been surprised by something and they have to reconsider their decisions and they have to decide how they're going to deal with one of their own. Excuse me. So that's really interesting in this book, and I want to see where that goes. So I'm excited about that. You're welcome, Salter. It's a pleasure. So yeah, that's what I'm thinking. My goal, because we only have 3 sessions, so my goal is to complete part 1 before we meet next week, because there are only 3 parts. So I'm going to finish part 1 so we can start off with part 2, which is Exile, by next week, Friday. So that's, if you want to pace yourself with me, that is the homework. Finish part 1 and then we'll start part 2 on Friday. Does anybody want to share what they think of what they've read so far? I'm going to use one of our OG questions, which is, what question would you like answered as the Xenogenesis series comes to an end in Imago? So what question do you most want answered as the Xenogenesis or Lilith's Brood series comes to a close? What question do you need answered? Do you most want answered? If I were to answer my own question, I don't know if this is the question I most want, and my questions are sometimes hard to answer. This isn't necessarily what I most want to happen, but I want to know if Lilith will find peace, you know? I feel as though she's been able to be content, and even though she's resigned with the whole situation, but I want to know if she'll be able to find some sort of like peace. And then I guess the other thing, will the humans prove the ONCOLI wrong? That's another question I have. Yeah, those are 2 questions I'd like to see answered. Okay, let's see where folks are at. You're on 2nd page of chapter 4. Read something that made you think of Clay's arc. Ooh, what was that? Yes, exactly. Tati, we're the same person. 100%. I'm just like, it's so funny when that happens. I totally love it. I love being in your head. I am your head. Yeah, how old is she? Yes, a billion years old. Jesus. Exactly, 300. The organ. Oh yeah. Oh, I loved when Jonas is like, there's something growing in between my two hearts. First of all, two hearts. Just dropped it casually, but something's growing within my two hearts. Oh, so it's the Uloi womb, basically, the pre-womb, the womb, two hearts in a womb ish thing. Yashi. It's like, is it omnipotent? I mean, no. Is it its own? Does it have its own sentience? Is that what we call it? I don't know what the word is. Awareness. Yes. The organelle that was the original Oankali, if that early iteration could be what they found when they ventured out in Clay's Ark. Oh, that's interesting. Maria, could you bring that? Yes, could you bring that to our talk? And I would love a page reference for when they found it in Clay's Ark, because I'm sure she has left Easter eggs, and everybody be trying to get to Mars, right? So I think that's really interesting. So, we have the Oankali going to Mars. We have the people in Survivor on. It was Mars that they went to, wasn't it? Mars in Survivor. Was it that the planet Mars, or was it another planet? Yeah, there's a lot of Mars. Everybody's going to Mars, so we talk about that. The extent to which combining with human changes the Oankali, because the Oankali don't truly understand humans. That's right. And what may be referred to as the human equation, it by nature includes unpredictables. Yes. 100%. Yeah. Totally skipped over that. Genetic mixing chamber, the organelle. Ah, yes, not the womb, the genetic mixing chamber. Yes, Mars was Octavia's goal in so many ways. So that's a thing. All right, everyone. This has been such a pleasure. So I want to thank you for joining for the first of 3 slow read sessions. To those of you who are rewatching or who are watching the replay, thank you for watching. And in the comments, please share your thoughts after reading part 1 of Metamorphosis. We would love to hear what you have to say. If you're in the chat and you'd like to continue this conversation, you can do so in the comments. I will check them and respond to them. For those who have not been on or who have noticed that I haven't posted pre-recorded content, that's because I am on a hiatus from ONYX Pages, pre-recorded. It actually, like, just to say it out loud, yeah, I'm taking a little break. I've taken a little break to kind of gather my thoughts and gather myself and to focus on my reading. And so it's for those who are just like, oh, a video from Manjeri. Hello, thank you for watching this one. And I hope you join us for the OEB slow read. I see the word sponge and I'm concerned. Oh, you don't think it was Mars, but Mars will make another appearance. The sponge. Ha. Okay, you found it. Awesome. The original Oankali has evolved through that organelle's invasion, acquisition, duplication, and symbiosis. Where is that? Where is that from? I mean, I know it's Clay's Ark, but where did you find that? You're welcome, Latrice. Thank you for coming. These are things I'll be looking more into when we're finished the slow read in full. Maria, I'm so freaking excited for that. Okay, so let's just also talk about this. So the slow read will be ending. Can you believe we would have been together for 2 whole years? That's longer than many starter marriages. So not ours. But anyway, so Tommy and I will be celebrating. We're going to be celebrating our 5th wedding anniversary this year. So yes. And 5th anniversary for ONYX Pages, because I started on our honeymoon. So like anniversaries colliding. Anyway, off topic. I need to go. So okay, thank you for that. But I will say that so the Octavia E. Butler slow read is going to be coming to an end this year in November. We will be reading our last book. So the next, after Imago, the next book is the Parable of the Sower. Then we've got Parable of the Talents. Then after that, we've got Fledgling, and then we have Bloodchild. Wait, no, Bloodchild, and then Tati, help me. And then after that, we've got Unexpected Stories in November of 2022. And then we're done. So this is the second of only 3 series. After this, we have standalones and short story collections. So yeah, please think about how you'd like to end the slow read, because we will be asking you to contribute to how we mark this international collective slow and luxurious read, first ever in the world, of Octavia E. Butler's works in near chronological order. This is a big deal, everybody. So we need to mark it with something really special. So think about what that might look like, and share that with myself, Isis, and Tatiana, and each other. Okay. A phrase going onto your vision board this year is luxurious rest. Yes. Also, I want to connect with you about vision boards because that's one of my things. Thank you. From this book. Okay. I get it. Please put it in the chat when you find it, or Maria, or mention it at the slow read next weekend. Yeah, we have a whole year though. So thank you. Sower Talents. Okay, Bloodchild. Where's Fledgling? Is Fledgling before Bloodchild or after? So Bloodchild, is that one of them is 2006 and one's 2009, I thought. All wrong. So this one is 2005. And Fledgling, one of them is like, wait, she passed in 2006. It couldn't be 2009. 2005. I'm not sure which one came before. This one came before Bloodchild. Oh, no, it didn't. Oh, goodness. I don't even know. I'm not sure which one came first. Okay. Bloodchild first, and then Fledgling, and then Unexpected. Okay, great. And now you can type. It's good. All right, everybody, we all need a break. We all need luxurious rest. So have a wonderful evening. Thank you for joining. Have a great week. We'll see you here on Friday, and we'll connect. Look at the chat. Sower Talents, Bloodchild, Fledgling, Unexpected. Bloodchild, 1996. Okay. Awesome. Am I missing something in the chat? Because my chat is delayed. So I'll just wait to see if something comes up. Okay, I got everything. Bye, everyone. Have a good night. Read with purpose.